Hi guys, it's Hannah and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today's video is going to be a January and February reading wrap up. The reason I decided to do both of these in one is because I only read a few books in January and most of the books that I did read I finished in February, so it only feels right. I think I have 4 physical books and 4 ebooks, so yeah, let's just get right into it. We are starting off strong. The first book I read this year was The Serpent and the Wings of the Night by Carissa Broadbent. This book was so good. I really enjoyed this more than I thought I was going to. It is a little longer than I anticipated, especially the second book, which I also read this month or last month. Yeah, so let me just go into a little bit of what it's about. So we're following Araya, who's a human, and she is basically entering this like Hunger Games-esque competition kind of thing. I believe it's called the Kajari. I don't think I'm pronouncing that right. I never pronounce anything right with fantasies, but whatever. And she meets Rain, who is a vampire also competing in this competition. And basically, if you win, you have like one wish that is granted by the goddess of Noxia, which is the name of the series, Crowns of Noxia. So yeah, that's basically the premise of the first book. I really loved Araya. I thought she was a very strong female character and I enjoyed reading her point of view. There we go. I also loved Rain. I thought Rain was a perfect male main character in the sense of fantasy. He had everything that you wanted and everything that you kind of crave from a male love interest in a like the world is ending kind of vibe. So I really enjoyed that. I gave it 4 stars. Again, I think the only thing was that it was kind of long. Next, I read Intermezzo by Sally Rooney. If you don't know, Sally Rooney is one of my favorite authors of all time. I absolutely love this woman. So this is her 4th book, I believe, that she's published. I have read all of them. My favorite book of all time is Normal People by her. Yeah, this was a little bit of a different angle for her. I feel like this follows 2 men and they are brothers. We have Peter, who is a lawyer, and Ivan, who is a chess player, you know, younger brother situation. So it's an older brother and a younger brother, and their father just passed away. So it's them dealing with grief and relationships and their relationship as brothers, their relationship with their mom. All of those things are in here. I really enjoyed this. It took me a really long time to read. I finished this on January 22nd, and I believe I started it before the end of the year. Yeah, I started it in December. So it took me a little over a month to read, but it was so good, so enjoyable. Is this on backwards? I put the cover on backwards. I was so confused. I was like, huh? Guys, it's fine. Now it's upright. I love this cover though. The orange one, slay. Sally Rooney's writing definitely isn't for everyone. I can understand why people didn't enjoy this book, or if Sally Rooney lovers were less impressed with this one than the others. But I loved this just as much as her other ones. I think something that Sally does really well is have several characters that are very intricate and detailed and feel like a real human being, and you just start to really care about their character as a person and what happens in their life. And I think even the love interests in here were very strong characters, and I understood them and why they made the decisions that they made, especially Peter and Ivan. I think I hated both of them for a little bit at some part of the book, but I ended up understanding them and rooting for them towards the end. So yeah, it's definitely not everyone's cup of tea, but I really enjoyed it. I also gave this 4 stars. I think I gave it a 4.25 because it was just a little higher than a 4-star, you know? All right. The next book I read in January was The Roughest Draft by Emily Wibberley and Austin Sigmund Broca. If you didn't watch my video of me reading this and giving all my opinions, then I will link it up here wherever you do that, and you guys can go check that out for my full opinions on this, but I'll just give you a brief little synopsis. Basically, this follows Katrina and Nathan, who are both authors. that previously wrote 2 books together, or one book together, and basically they were super successful, but they had a falling out, and now they are contractually obligated to write their next book together. So it follows them along on that journey. You get a lot of their history, all of that stuff. This was so enjoyable. I gave it 4 stars. It really appealed to the writer inside of me, which I talk about in my video. If you are a writer and you need a little inspiration, I think this was really fun to read. So yeah. Okay, next was a book I started in January and finished in February, so we are now into our February books. This was the first one I finished in February, and that is Emergency Contact by H.K. Choi. This book was so surprisingly cute. I really enjoyed it. I've had this on my shelf since high school, middle school, possibly. I believe my best friend Shelby gifted this to me. I was a reader back then, but like I was so depressed that I never wanted to do anything, so I wasn't really picking books up unless they were like making me cry. So I finally picked this up when I went home for the holidays, and it was so cute. I gave this a 3.75 just because I felt like it was a lot longer than it needed to be. Let me tell you what it's about though. This follows Penny Lee and Sam, I forget his last name. Sam is 18, 19, he's a little older than Penny, who is just starting her freshman year of college, and she's kind of stumbling around trying to figure out her footing, and her roommate is Sam's cousin. So that's how she meets Sam, and Sam is living in the place that he works called House, which is a restaurant, and they meet at House, and that's kind of where things go. I really love the meaning of the title and the story as you read it. I think it was a very strong premise for a romance novel. I definitely think it could have been shorter, but it was very cute. Okay, next I read the second book in the Crowns of Nyaxia, the Crowns of Nyaxia series. That is The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. So this obviously picks up right where we left off with the first book, which I can't really say much, but it just is following Araya and Rain's journey after the first book and all of the things that went down in that book that now needs to be resolved and all of that fun stuff. I definitely enjoyed this more than the first one, I think. I think there was more of what I wanted in the first one. In the second one, I get lost sometimes in the heavy fantasy elements, but I really enjoyed how detailed Carissa writes and how visual it is of a story. Like, I truly was picturing everything in my head, and it was very fun to dive into. So I don't know if I'm going to continue with the last 2 books because I believe they follow Mish, guys. I don't know, because he calls her Mish as a nickname in the book, but I was saying Mish as her full name, so I think it's Misha because there's an E at the end. Let me know. But anyway, it follows her and her journey that is kind of explained within the first 2 books. So I don't know, I might read it. I really enjoyed Misha as a character, but I don't know if I'm that interested. Okay, guys, next book was crazy. I fully need to explain. I'll tell you the book first. The next book is Lights Out by Navessa Allen. I hope I'm saying that right. Yes, so I was on TikTok, and the voice actor for this book is Jacob Morgan, which I guess is a very popular male voice actor. Ember is about to get in the bed, and she's not allowed to. She doesn't fucking listen to me, okay? I know, I love you so much. But your brother's gonna be very mad at me when he watches this video. Okay, anyway, I saw Jacob Morgan's voiceover reading our male main character's point of view. Guys, I'm sorry. I had to read it because you know what I love is a male character with personality, okay? A male character who isn't afraid to be goofy and sarcastic and like funny. I feel like a lot of the male main characters I read in romances have no personality. Yeah, I had to read it immediately after hearing that, but I'm gonna tell you guys the premise and do what you will with that, okay? So this follows Alyssa and Josh. And Josh is, how do I put this? A little bit but not in like a bad way, you know? So basically he has a TikTok account where he posts thirst traps, basically wearing a mask, okay? And Alyssa is into that kind of thing. She watches those kind of videos, and neither of them know that about each other. But they meet because Allie used to hook up with Josh's roommate. So that's kind of how they meet. And Josh is also like a super tech savvy guy. So that's all I can say without spoiling things. But it's so good, guys. Okay, I was not expecting to be as floored by this romance as I was, but it was so good. And it's not just a romance, there's some like thriller elements in there. The second book that's coming out in April follows a character that you meet in this book, and I loved him. So I'm really excited for it. But yeah, thank you to Vessa Allen for writing this, because wow, I thought it was so enjoyable. This next one is also a really, really good read for me, and I was debating knocking it up a few stars. I also gave Lights Out 4 stars. I don't know if I said that, but this book is amazing. I read it because of a YouTube recommendation, I think from Sarah Caroli. I love her videos. She's probably one of the only booktubers that I watch like every single video. Anyway, the book is Phantasma by Kaylee Smith. And this is another fantasy, which is why I'm saying I think I'm really getting into fantasy and enjoying that a bit more. But this follows Ophelia, who is a necromancer, which basically means she can speak to the dead and see the dead. And that was a role that was passed on to her from her mother, who just passed away. So she is Ophelia Grimm. She is living in the Grimm Manor, and she finds out that the manor is in jeopardy. So she joins Phantasma in hopes of saving this and saving her sister and her life and all of the stuff that's going down. So in Phantasma, she meets Blackwell, who is a phantom that only she can see, because obviously she can see the dead. In Phantasma, he kind of agrees to help her get through the 9 deadly levels of Phantasma so that she can reach the end and get her wish or her reward. That's her goal right now. And Blackwell offers to help her reach that goal. But of course, nothing is as simple as it seems. I loved this book. I actually was jaw-dropped by the plot twist. And the thing is I fucking knew. I said it in my head. I was like, there's no fucking way. And then there was a way. So I think it's like not obvious, but it is. But it's not. That's all I'll say. So good. Also a 4-star. Almost wanted to move it up, but it's fine. The last book I read this month was a recommendation from my boyfriend's mom, actually. And this was so funny because we were talking about we don't really like when people judge other people for books that they read. I was like, I don't judge anyone except for people that like really love. And then all I could think of was Twilight. So I said that, and she was like, oh, I love the Twilight books. And I was like, fuck, I shouldn't have said that. But I actually don't have anything against the Twilight books. I think the only thing that made me be like, oh, Twilight's cringy is the clips that I'd seen of the movies. And I've never seen any of the movies. I've just seen random clips here and there on TikTok or Instagram or whatever it may be. And I was always just so confused, and I never really liked 2 main characters, Edward and Bella, and their like portrayals in the show or in the movie. All the clips I had seen just made it seem kind of cringy. So I never got into it. What do you know? The next book I read was Twilight. It's actually surprisingly good. I enjoyed it. I think Stephenie Meyer's writing is a little different than I'm used to. Again, I'm not a huge fantasy person, so that might just be me. If you don't know what this book is about, it follows a human, Bella Swan, who is moving to a small town called Forks, and basically holy shit. Basically, in Forks, she goes to school and she sees Edward Cullen and his family, and she immediately knows that something is weird about Sir Edward. He's a vampire. So that is all I can really say. A lot of people probably know everything that happens in these books, but don't tell me, okay? Because I don't know. My boyfriend's mom is getting so frustrated with me because I keep asking her questions and being like, why is he doing this and why is she saying that? And she's like, just read the damn books. And I'm like, okay, girlfriend, I'm on it. So yeah, I plan on starting New Moon today, and it's the 28th of February, so I guess that will be the last book that I started reading in February. Yes, I also gave this 4 stars. Those are all of the books that I read in January and February, guys. I had a great 2 reading months. I've enjoyed all of these books so far. Nothing has gone under 3, which is amazing. So yeah, I'm currently searching for my first 5-star read of the year. So if you have any recommendations, go ahead and let me know. Yeah, that's all I have for you guys. It's so nice outside, so I think I am gonna go outside and read. Obviously gonna need a coat because it's still freaking cold. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe and do all that fun stuff if you feel so inclined. Yeah, love ya. Bye.